And we are live here to chat about tonight's episode of Arrow, entitled Irreconcilable Differences. This is episode 9 of season 6. This was the mid-season finale. It was quite a mid-season finale, and I'm so excited to show you guys who I have with me tonight. Say hello to Romi.
Hey, hi, how are you?
This is Romi. She's been on the show a couple times before, I think. Last season, she's at Elicity Dreams on Twitter, and I thought there was nobody better to join me for our chat about the mid-season finale than her. So we're here to chat about weddings and team breakups and irreconcilable differences and betrayal and everything. So let's just...
That is so dramatic.
It's so dramatic, but you know what? Tonight's episode was pretty dramatic.
it was pretty, yeah, I know, right? It was
a lot.
Really, yeah, it was really cheesy. Okay, but the part where Oliver and Felicity slow-mo scene, that was really cheesy, and I loved it.
Yeah. I thought that all of the sort of quintessential wedding moments were captured so well in tonight's episode, which was really fun.
Yeah.
So if anybody watching has any thoughts or questions, things you want us to cover, things you want to say, things you want to get off your chest, just drop a comment below. If you're watching through hyperlink on Twitter, you can also tweet me and I'll see that too. And we're just going to get right into it. I'm going to toss it right back to Romi. Can you rate tonight's episode on a scale from 1 to 5, 1 being awful and I want my money back, and 5 being best episode of Arrow?
Okay, tonight's episode lived up to CW drama. So I think I'm going to give it a 9 because we got Olicity wedding. I mean, come on. We got dancing. We got slow-mo. We got pink. I mean, Raise Your Glass was playing.
Yes.
I love that.
Oh.
And we got OTA a little bit. I mean, I know it was a crisis, but if it's going to give me OTA, I don't care, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, we are so starving for scenes from them that I don't care how we get them. But I think it was a great mid-season finale. I think they set up the villains very great, and
yeah.
I think I think. Now go, what?
Oh, I was just going to say, I agree. I thought that they integrated the villainy moments in really well in this episode. I found myself genuinely intrigued by some of the villains. I found myself genuinely annoyed by some of the villains. And that was really fun. And obviously they were quite successful in breaking up the team, because by the end of the episode, the team was broken up. So we got to see the villains succeed a little bit.
Also, Oliver being a drama queen.
Yes, Oliver being such a drama queen.
I mean, he was so hurt. He was kind of adorable.
Yeah. He's kind of, it was a nice, Oliver was pretty melodramatic, but in that sense as well, we kind of got to see how much he wants to take ownership of the team back again. So that was really interesting to see. And it just felt very much like a mid-season finale that could set up well for next season. So that was really fun. And, there were times where I found myself genuinely annoyed at the villains, which is what you want. Like if you contrast it to some other shows, I often find, like with Flash, I often find myself kind of rooting for the villain because I'm like, yeah, like,
I mean, of course.
So, yeah.
I mean, the elongated man, I want someone to punch that guy in the face. I don't care if he melts or something.
I completely agree. So it was nice to kind of feel like we were rooting for the heroes in a sense tonight. I would rate the episode as a mid-season finale. I'd rate it like a solid 4. I thought it was really good, but some moments were 5s. Some moments were like 10s. Like,
I mean, Olicity wedding was a 10. Let's just clear that up, okay?
Yeah.
Because I don't know what, there was a lot of expectations with Olicity wedding, I think, in this fandom. I mean, I've never seen such a large collection of fanfiction about wedding. And yes. I know that people expected a lot, but I think this was the way of the writers of saying, I'm sorry that the most popular ship on the CCTV had to share their wedding, and I mean, we got a reception. I never expected, an entire episode about Olicity because it's never going to happen. But I think they delivered. What I expected, Felicity looked gorgeous. Oliver looked great in love. There was great moments between Quentin and Oliver, between Deagle and Oliver. I mean, speech for big Deagles, instead of Renee. I'm sorry about my English.
No, you sound great.
And I really thought that Deagle should have spoke, but I don't know. I liked it, and I mean, I was like, oh, Renee really love Felicity. Let's not kill him when he betrays Oliver. So. Yeah, I think that was okay. He's still a nice guy.
Factor for Renee, like the redeeming factor for him was the fact that he likes Oliver and Felicity. Me too.
Yeah, and I was kind of annoyed with Curtis. I mean, I know he was drunk and stuff, and he lost Paul, but like, dude, can you be a little bit? I mean, Curtis was one of the biggest shippers of Felicity on the show, and he was kind of bummed out because they got married, and I was like, dude. Give them a break, okay? They are getting married. Oliver is allowed to be happy for 5 minutes, and it's not like he didn't care about him or whatever. I don't know what was his drama, but yeah, I was kind of annoyed with Curtis tonight.
I think with Curtis, it was really interesting in a bad way to see how he was written tonight. Because as you pointed out in previous episodes and in previous seasons, in fact, we've seen Curtis be very much the like supportive romantic, and he enjoys this kind of stuff. And of course, he's heartbroken, the same as he always is, about the fact that he and his husband have split up. And I would love to see, either his husband or some other love come back into his life again. But I think that they had a missed opportunity to show him be so happy in a wistful way. At Oliver and Felicity's wedding reception. I think that it was just sort of a point of plot convenience that they were trying to show this sort of unhappiness in him so that we would suspect him.
Yeah, I mean, of course he would have
suspect Dinah.
Thought of his failed marriage and a happy wedding, but I don't know. I think all of Felicity's friends are disappointing this week, right? And yeah, that was about Iris, by the way. And
no, I agree. In the reference on Flash to Oliver and Felicity, I was really disappointed in the Flash writers choosing to go that route. It wasn't a good look on them. It wasn't a good look on Iris. So that was unfortunate. Jumping in the chat here, we have Amanda saying, I'll put my Brazil and Argentina irreconcilable differences aside for Romi. I love her. Stormy says, I loved everything Olicity. I give the episode a 5. My OTP are married. Bruna says Olicity is married. So we got a lot there, and a lot of people saying, it was really odd that Curtis was just an odd, bitter guest. But there's one at every wedding, apparently, Stormy says. And Amanda points out it was just so that they had to break the team down the middle. So Curtis just was played that way as a point of plot convenience.
Yeah.
And Stormy points out Iris and Curtis are competing for that bitter crown. Yeah, I guess there always has to be some sort of like bitter Nancy in the crowd, huh?
That is so wrong. I mean, I mean, Curtis is like, okay, I'm still going to be on Helix, but I kind of don't like you right now, so I'm going to go. I mean, I never understood Curtis' need to be on the team. I mean, I think he was very happy to be just a normal guy, a scientist. He could have worked on polymer tech, but of course, he needed to be on the team, so they gave him the need. But I don't really, I mean, this is going to sound mean, but I don't think he's necessary in the team. He is not a good fighter. Like, okay, if he was going to be on the field, okay, he was going to be able to fight, but he can't. And I think 2 tech experts on the team, okay, the Flash have them, but I don't know. I just feel like sometimes they bring Felicity's capabilities down to give Curtis something to do. So I just they need to find the balance there so I can like her
Yeah.
better
There's a bit of
because
an overlap, I guess, with Felicity and Curtis's skills that doesn't have to be there. They could have differentiated Curtis from her and given him a more clear identity that was different from hers to start with, but instead they just kind of changed the way they wrote Felicity in order to fit him in, which I felt was
yeah.
uncomfortable. And a character like Curtis, I think, deserves better. We did talk a bit about we loved the wedding, we loved the cake and her dress and everything was
The little
beautiful and her
people
family was
on top, they look like them.
yes, the cake toppers were lovely. There was like a custom cake topper. Her parents were there and there was this great, smoke and lance moment which was adorable, and we
I
got
mean,
to
they
see
still got it.
William.
I mean, I'm talking about Smoke and Lance. They are hot. I mean, they have
Yes.
chemistry, and that's all Paul and Charlotte.
Yeah,
They are awesome together. I really miss that
they
couple. But
are.
I mean, we got an overdose of Donna last season. I think it's really smart of the writers just to, uh, take her away for a while because I don't know how she fit in the storyline. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know where they are
Looking in
going
the
with Quentin,
Yeah, looking in the
but I like
chat,
her.
we see, yeah, Stormy's saying, I love Donna and Lance. Amanda's saying she loved the song At Last being used as their first dance song. So it was lovely
That
because
was
that's
the
the first
song.
time
I
we've
thought it
seen
was
Oliver and
Sunday,
Felicity
Sunday kind
dance.
of love at first.
What now?
I thought it was Sunday kind of love, and I almost passed away because I love that song, but it was.
Oh, that's such a good Sunday Kind of Lovely. Sunday Kind of Love is a really beautiful song that was used on the soundtrack of the movie in Education. I really love that song.
I love that song.
So we talked about a lot of our positives with that. So let's slide on into our negatives because we kind of started to get into that a little bit with Curtis already. And there's a theme of negatives in the chat. Stormy says, "Can we talk about the weird sexual chemistry between Lance and Black Siren?" And Amanda says, "Why did Black Siren have to make it sexual? Grr, I hate her." So we have
Ew,
a
that is
most hated
gross.
villain, perhaps. What did you think of that?
I mean, I didn't pay much attention to her scenes because I kind of fall asleep. But
Yeah.
I mean, I really don't. I don't know where they are going with this villain because she is like, okay,
Yeah.
she is a good guy now because she told him to run. I don't think so. I
Yeah.
think she's going to
It's
stab
like they're trying
him
to
on the
force a
back.
redemption arc or something.
Like, why can't she be evil? Like, I don't get it. And I don't think there's a
Yeah.
sexual chemistry between Lance and Loreville.
I
Yeah.
just think it's just unfortunate the way I get why that comment is there because I don't think that they have sexual chemistry per se, but it's unfortunate that the way that villain is played a little too sexual, to
Yeah, the
where
way
it
she
doesn't so
walks is
much
like,
come
why are you
across as like
walking like that?
yeah, Carrie in the chat says, just got here. I don't think Siren telling Lance to run was sexual. I think she did it that way because Caden might be spying. Yeah, I definitely agree with Carrie there that was her motivation. It's just unfortunate that the way I don't think it's in the writing. I just think it's the way this particular villain is played a little too overtly sexual in situations that aren't sexual. So I get
Femme
what they're saying,
fatale.
but Carrie's also right that was the actual motivation for the scene. But regarding Caden, because Caden's actually the big bad behind it, Black Siren's just a minion. What did you think about the
Like
integration
always.
of Caden into this episode? Amanda says that tongue on his ear, yuck. Yeah, I get it. I
Ew,
get
that is
it.
gross. Please don't make me
Yeah,
think of those things. Don't put that out into the universe because the writers
we'll
are gonna
change the
give
topic
you,
to Caden
you know,
James.
yeah, just to make her relevant, they're going to
Yeah.
give you that romance and you're gonna get.
Yeah, yeah. So, regarding Caden James, what did you think of Caden James in this episode, and what did you think of the reveal at the end that we also had Anatoly, we also had what's his name? Like Caden James has everybody working for him.
I mean, let's talk about feeling betrayed because I feel so betrayed by Anatoly. I love him. I know
Aww.
he's a brat by and all, but Like, dude, Oliver was your brother. Why are you doing this? Like, he's
Right.
such a drama queen also. Like, let's talk about men in this show. They can handle rejection.
Yeah. Jumping into the chat, Stormy says, aside from Caden and Anatoly, I have zero interest in the other villains. And Carrie says, is Caden giving us
Who are the other, by the way?
Injustice
Oh,
League?
yeah.
I dig it. I do think that this is supposed to be the Injustice League, you know, compared to Arrow's Justice League, because it was supposed to, you know, in a backwards way mirror each other, that as the Team Arrow falls apart, the team not
Villain.
Arrow, Team Caden,
Team
Team
Caden.
Villain, Team Injustice,
Team Evil.
they have all come together. So we've seen the villain team all unite together under Caden James, and we've seen Team Arrow fall apart, or sort of fall apart. It's more just like OTA again.
Divide.
Amanda in the chat says Richard Dragon, Vincent, Anatoly, Black Siren, Caden James, and General Lackey by his side. General Lackey is the one I was forgetting. Richard Dragon, I forget too. Richard Dragon was really forgettable. We could do without him. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think of the villains have come together and Team Arrow's fallen apart? And what do you think of the state of Team Arrow right now?
I think Team Arrow OTA doesn't have a lot of moral ground to judge the noobs. I mean, I know we love them, and I know I'm always on their side no matter what. But I think they all lied. They all hidden things because they thought they were doing the right thing. I mean, Oliver lied about William to Felicity to protect him, and then Deagle lied about his injury, putting people in risk, and Felicity lied about Helix, and they all had dirty stuff. So I think Oliver was more mad about not being able to keep his promise to William than he was mad with Renee. I think he would have done the same thing. I mean, he said it. I would have done the exact same thing. But I think he just can't forgive him because now he will have to tell his son that he might go to prison. And also, I think that after what happened with Evelyn, Oliver is really sensible about trust. His circle trust, and I understood he felt that way. But I mean, I think Renee was right to do that for his daughter. I mean, he betrayed Oliver, but I think should have done, like there was another option, or maybe there was, I don't know, but I don't think Renee is unredeemable or whatever. I'm not mad at Renee. I'm more mad at Dinah.
On the other side, though, if you consider the way that the Newbies reacted to original Team Arrow and the way the Newbies reacted to being spied on, or reacted to original Team Arrow perhaps suspecting them or being worried, I felt that was unwarranted as well, because they all have to track each other. They all have to second guess each other. They all have to, if they get a lead, they have to investigate it. They got a lead. The lead was right. It was one of the newbies. One of the newbies betrayed them. They had to check all of them. It wasn't an unreasonable thing to be spied on. And furthermore, I found it unreasonable, for example, that Curtis would be like, I can't believe you would spy on me, when Curtis was the one who spied on Felicity when she was lying about Helix and hid a GPS tracker.
Oh, I forgot about that.
In her food so that she wouldn't know she was being tracked, in order to track her when she was working with Helix. A deal that at the time worked out fine because the team didn't trust her. And she's one of the oldest members of the team. So if Curtis, a new member of the team, can track Felicity and spy on Felicity without her permission through her food, absolutely the older members of the team can track the newer members of the team. So it was completely like, obviously with Renee, it's unreasonable for him to react wrong because he was the one that actually betrayed them. Like, whatever.
I mean, I think at first Renee was like, okay, I made a mistake. He wasn't like, sparky about it. But then he was like really mad and really bitter. And I'm like, dude, you screwed up. Like, I don't know what
his
he
own fault.
expected.
Renee was the one not trusting the rest of them. Renee was the one who turned on the rest of them.
I mean,
he didn't trust them to help him get his daughter. He didn't trust them to do the right thing. So he turned on them. He could have and may in fact end up getting Oliver sent to jail away from his son when he supposedly signed up to the team to support Oliver. It was his fault. And the other two leaving because that puts them in the wrong. Like, they're in the wrong. So that's kind of my issue with this.
I mean, I'm more mad at Dinah for hiding, Vince. Like, he is on the other side, like,
Right.
like this could be, like, he could be getting intel from her and she wouldn't know. Like, I think there is, okay, Renee had reasons, his daughter, but what are motivations? I mean, is she still in love with him, or I don't know. She was too mad for being caught up, I think. Like, okay, they caught me, now I have to act like.
Well, it's unreasonable because, like, with Curtis, it's unreasonable because he's done the same thing before. With both Dinah and Renee, it's unreasonable because Renee, obviously, is working with the FBI. Dinah's working with an actual villain, like, going behind their back. Like, they spied on her and found her meeting with an actual villain. She's in the wrong. She should have told the team. She promised Diggle no more secrets after he came clean about the drug thing when she was like, you should have told us. You should have told the team that you were working with a villain that has tried to kill Team Arrow. Why would they trust her? Why are they in the wrong for tracking her? It's so unreasonable.
Okay, like, I'm going to be the devil's attorney here.
Okay.
And I think we expect the newbies to learn from their mistakes so fast. Like, we've seen OTA go through 6 years of developments, of going through so much shit, like, they've learned, they've lived a lot of stuff, and they went through so much, and we are holding the new team up to that. And I think we need to give them the opportunity to mess up, to learn from their mistakes, because that will make them a better heroes, better friends, better team members. I mean, I think also the way they were introduced into the team is not helpful at all for us to be connected with them, because they were just, recruited. They just dropped them inside of the bunker, and we're supposed to care about them. But it doesn't work that way, It wasn't like Roy, that we saw him from the beginning, struggling, and then he was introduced into the team. Like, he earned that spot. I don't think Renee or Dinah earned that spot just because they needed people,
Right.
So now I think we are going to be able to feel empathy for them, or not, I don't know. But I think the writers are giving us the opportunity to care about them.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, I think they are going to learn, and they're going to be better, and they're going to apologize at some point, I hope.
Yeah,
and
I think so too. Looking in the chat, there's a comment here from Carrie who says Ollie worked with Anatoly, Felicity worked with Caden, sort of. She worked with Felix,
with Slade Wilson. I mean, Oliver worked with Slade Wilson.
Everyone on the team has done dirt. And he says, truth and trust will set them free. You also mentioned Slade Wilson. While that's all true, and it is all true, so, like, we can kind of forgive Dinah for working with Vigilante. We can forgive Renee for potentially partnering with the people trying to put Oliver in jail, et cetera, whatever. I get it. Like, everybody makes their sketchy decisions. Everybody partners with villains on this team. My issue is their reaction to being found out. Like, if you take Felicity, for example, when she found out that she was being tracked with the Helix thing, with it, like, you're right, like, I was working with Helix, let's have a discussion. She wasn't like, how dare you track, like, it was over in 3 seconds. So the fact that all these newbies are being so melodramatic about being tracked, as if that's not part of the job and being part of the team, like, surely they have GPS trackers and stuff on them all the time. Surely, like, they know Felicity and all of them have the ability to check in on them at any time. Like, that felt really
I think that it's just plot elements, they needed the team to split up. So if they just say, okay, you were right, you tracked me because I screwed up, there will be no fight. And so I get what you're saying, but I mean, it's the CW still is going to be cheap storyline, and it's going to be weak plot lines and spots. So, but I think they also have very different personalities. Like Dinah is super fired up about everything. Like she is very like comic book Dinah. I'm sorry, I'm gonna say this, but she,
Yeah, no, she
yeah,
is.
she's very angry about everything, and I don't know. I think it goes with her character. Felicity is not like that. When they found out about Helix, I screwed up because I had to, I had to do this because I think it was the right thing to do. But I think Dinah is protecting Vigilante and is going to bite her on her ass. So
Yeah.
I'm just excited to see what the consequences are going to be for them.
Yeah, Stormy in the chat says Dinah better take out her ex when she finds out he's a villain. Amanda says Renee was in the wrong, but he owned it, recognized it. He could have come to the team. Curtis was just badly written. Good point. And Barbara says Renee was going to testify against Oliver, but was still working with him. That's ridiculous. I agree. If he wanted to turn on Oliver and testify against him, he had the right to do so, but he would have had to leave the team. So the way that the way Renee reacted, I don't think was acceptable. The way Curtis reacted was not acceptable, and the way Dinah reacted when Dinah, of all of them, was the only one actually working with a actual villain. Like Renee's working with somebody who's trying to put Oliver in jail,
Dinah doesn't know that she is.
I'm sorry, is in the right. Dinah is actually working with a villain. Okay, go ahead.
Dinah doesn't know that Vigilante is with Kate and James. Does she?
She doesn't know that he's with Kate and James, but she knows that he's a villain. Like the team has been tracking him before. The team's been after him before because of what he's done. Like she knows he's a villain, just not which team he's working with.
Yeah, okay. Maybe Dinah think that he is redeemable, because I mean it is not a coincidence that it was her boyfriend. I mean, I'm really disappointed still about Vigilante's identity because I really thought it was going to be, someone from like season 1. I don't know, Walter or something.
Yeah, I kind of hope so too. Carrie says in the chat, I think the problem the newbies had is when there was talk of a mole, the focus was on them. There was a clear split between who Ollie trusted and who he didn't. That was the problem. I agree. There is a clear split between who Oliver trusted and who he didn't, because there's also a clear split between who Oliver's known since the beginning and who Oliver has added basically for like a season. So it makes sense.
I think Curtis was reading.
Oliver hasn't even been working with the newbies. So of course
that's
he would
right.
question them. Amanda says Vigilante almost got Oliver
Deagle was the most pro newbies. Yeah, no, Deagle was the most pro newbies because he was their leader. Maybe if he felt bad, he didn't realize all this crap going on. I mean,
yeah, Barbara in the chat agrees with you. She says the newbies work better with Diggle.
Yeah, because I think Diggle knows that what is to be, under Oliver's command, and the newbies just, I don't think they accept that, because I think Diggle is more of a pair for them. So I don't know, sometimes I feel like they accept Diggle's authority better than Oliver's.
Yeah, especially Dinah. There obviously seems to be like more of an understanding between Dinah and Diggle. I think, like for me, that was the one part where like I absolutely understood Dinah leaving the team because she's working with somebody trying to get the team killed, like not just put in prison but killed. So obviously she would need to leave. But that was kind of the part that kind of twinged at me a little bit, was seeing how hurt she was that even Diggle was doubting her, and I was like, oh. These two really got to me. I mean, they did that.
Yes, I mean, Diggle wasn't entirely, he didn't entirely agree with Oliver being so distressful with the newbies, or so so unwilling to forgive them. But he still stood with them, so that is a stand right there. Like, I mean, even if you are wrong or if you're hurt, I'm going to be with you, because I mean, Diggle knows his place, and it's with Oliver and Felicity in this one.
Right.
And because he could have gone, defend Dinah or Renee or something, like Thea did. Like Thea understood that it was a betrayal, but he was still like, you need to forgive him.
That the team split would end up being Oliver, Felicity, and Curtis, or no, Oliver, Felicity, and Renee. and Diggle, Dinah, and Curtis. Back when we knew that there was going to be a team split, but we didn't know like what would cause it or what would happen.
Yeah, but
We all
they
kind of
already
thought,
did
like,
the,
it's
you know, Oliver versus Deagle.
tech person.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
go
didn't
ahead.
get that. No, I think they already did the, you know, Oliver versus Deagle. So I thought it was kind of been there, done that situation. So I always thought it was going to be Oda versus Newbies, and everybody was, you're crazy, they're going to do that because people doesn't care a lot about the Newbies. I know there are a lot of fans of Dine and Renee and stuff, and don't get me wrong, I'm really happy about a Latino on the team,
Right.
but I don't know. I don't think people is on Newbies side, even if Oda is being too hard on them.
Right.
Like,
Yeah,
but I think this is the opportunity to care about them more.
OTA side because OTA is in the right, technically, in my opinion. Carrie in the chat says Dinah's hurt came from Dig not trusting her. She needed him and he let her down, even though she had backed up him. Like back when he had the whole leadership issue in the past, Dinah had backed him and she was crushed. True. The angst. Amanda says because OTA decides things together, they trust each other, have each other's backs. Diggle always backs up Oliver no matter what. Stormy says OTA are a family. It would be hard for the Newbies to compete with that bond. I agree, and I don't think they should compete with that bond, and I definitely don't think they should automatically be granted 6 years of trust that Felicity and Diggle kind of had to earn. So
I also think this is an opportunity to shake up, you know, dynamics. Like, I would love to see, I don't know, because right now it's very OTA Newbies for when, but it was, you know, Dinah with Diggle, Curtis with Felicity, and Oliver. I don't know if Oliver didn't really have one, but I think it was very, you know, Felicity is like in a glass case when she can interact with Renee for some reason, or Dinah, which is ridiculous, or, you know, I don't know, Deagle with Curtis or Curtis with Oliver. I don't know, shake up a little bit that, because I think the team needs to come together more in a true way, you know. I think, I think this is an opportunity to shake up that. If they do it right, that's something I would like to see.
Yeah, I agree. I think it'll be interesting going forward. That kind of leads me to my final question for you and for anybody else in the chat watching. What would you like to see going forward, going into 6B, so the last half of season 6? Do you want to see OTA start to trust the Newbies as if they've been there all along? Do you want to see the Newbies all group up and form like a second vigilante team together? What do you want to see for the individual characters? What do you expect to see for the different plot lines? Like, what do you want out of 6B?
Well, I think they are going to, you know, form a new team, the Newbies, and I'm personally hoping to see more OTA, you know, because we've been so, I don't know, we've been denied that relationship for so long because, you know, all the new members, and, you know, I think, I know that's the core of the show, and I love to go back to that in a way, you know, to make the dynamics more organic, because I think they all can bring new people, you know, but Oda needs to be there, and I want to see that. I want to see more Deagle and Felicity talking, you know, because I don't know, I don't think we've seen them talk like in a true way since season 2, and that is really sad. Or season 3, I can't remember honestly. And I want to see, of course, Felicity and their new marriage dynamic, and, you know, raising this child, this preteen, like, I think it's going to be really a lot of fun and a lot of drama. I want to see more Caden James. I want to see him interacting with the team Arrow more. Like, he's kind of a, you know, big shadow on the back for now, but I want him mostly because I love Michael Emerson. I think he's a great addition to the show, and I think he's being an amazing villain, so far. I mean, he hasn't had a lot of scenes, but you know, he has this presence, and I don't know. I'm kind of disappointed with the rest of the villains. Like they, you know, felt too small and more minions than anything. I don't know. I want to see Oliver's reaction to Anatoly uh, being on their
Yeah.
side. Like I thought that relationship was deeper than, you know, petty things.
Yeah, I agree with
And
the Anatoly bit. I think that I would like to see Anatoly. I know like Caden James is the leader of the team, but I would like to see Anatoly have a really strong role and presence on the villain side because I think thus far one of the I wouldn't say weaknesses, but it could become a weakness in 6B is that the villain team has quite largely been represented by Caden James, his minion being Black Siren, and then random sort of villains of the week. And I would like to see what would happen with Caden James and Anatoly working together and to see some emphasis on that. And I think that would be really interesting.
yeah, that would be
Jumping into
great.
the chat to see what the chat would like to see. Stormy says, I want Dinah and Felicity scenes. Don't be like the Flash who have female regulars with no friendship. I
Yeah, I
agree.
know, right?
Carrie says, the real query is, can Team Arrow be fixed? The newbies could get up with Wally
Yeah.
and Jax and form their own Teen Titans elsewhere. Thea alluded to Roy at the wedding. I want to see him back. Another one saying throw in Roy and Artemis too. Kenny says throw in Laurel Lance too, girl. Carrie says it goes without saying. I want Team Caden wreaking havoc. Yeah, we do want to see the villains be kind of savage, which is I think why I want to see Anatoly and Caden get to team up together a good amount. Stormy says I want to see more of OTA, especially Felicity and Dig together. I want to see Felicity having her company, plus Elicity being awesome. Yeah, I love that we have like a stable, mature adult relationship on the show now. Of course, we always had Diggle and Lila, but we never see Lila, so that hardly counts. Also,
Yeah.
well,
I
anyways.
wanted her to be a regular always, but I don't think we're
Yeah.
getting that.
I would have loved to see Lila become more regularly present, but I'm wondering
I
how
wanted to
she'll
see
react to
little John
having
on the
Diggle
wedding.
use her office and her company and her access to information. Like,
Right.
were you weirded
Yeah, I
out at
know.
all by Diggle being so ready to?
Did you notice they cut the picture of their wedding because baby Sarah was on it? Oh, that was sad.
Yeah, yeah.
Can they get pregnant and have a little girl? That's what I want to see.
That would be lovely. It would be lovely to see Diggle and
Pregnancies,
Lila
I don't know.
thrive and have another kid. But I'm wondering if Diggle and Lila might be about to hit some irreconcilable differences as well due to what happened tonight. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm rooting for them. I'd love to see her
No.
return more regularly onto the show. Kenny says, how do you feel about a Black Siren redemption? Huge no to that. That would be like the huge, in my opinion, having a Black Siren redemption would completely retcon and throw under the bus everything they've built up for this Villainous. Like they've built up this almost majestic storyline for her as to how evil she can be. Like in terms of pure morality and morality code, other than that bit where she let, which I felt anyways, we'll get back to that. They've had her almost ruthlessly attack people in a way that like some of the top villains on the show have not done. And if they give her a redemption arc just so she can be like, oh, it's almost like we got Laurel back. Like, no. Kill
Yeah,
it
you
with
know what I
fire.
think is
Black
great?
Siren is a
I'm gonna
villain.
say
And
one
Black Siren
good
is
thing
good
about
at being a villain. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm gonna say
Sorry.
one good thing about Black Siren is I think it's amazing that she doesn't care about anyone or anything,
Yes.
and I think that's what makes her a great villain, or great,
Yes.
an interesting or potentially good villain. Because if she's gonna be having feelings, you know, for Quentin or seeing him as
Yeah.
her lost dad, what's the point of that? I mean, I think she's more fun when she is, you know, killing people and doing bad stuff. Like,
Yeah.
not every villain has to have a weak spot.
Yeah.
You know,
And
like
show in this franchise has overdone redemption arcs for villains anyways. But aside from that, like, even just look at the comments that we got tonight regarding the few moments where she was supposed to have like had feelings and let Lance go. Everybody was like, this is creepy, this whole like daddy daughter time, that like, what, this sounds like weird, it sounds like this weird kind of supposed to be sexy, like it doesn't come across right. It comes across as like creepy or sexy or just like not cool. She comes
I
across
think
way
she
better when she gets to be a ruthless villain. That's what she plays the best, and it makes her unique on the show, because we've already had people like Slade and even Anatoly who are like villains but sort of have a soft spot for somebody or this, that, or the other. We
and
haven't
even
had.
Caden, I think, sorry, I
Yeah.
think Caden is you know, is having his revenge, and so I think Oliver went through some of his family or something. So even Caden James is, his motivations are, you know, sentimental at some point, but Black Siren doesn't have that, and I think that was great.
Mm-hmm.
But if they're going to redeem her, I mean, I honestly don't think he's being redeemed. I think that
Yeah.
she's playing Quentin. That for Quentin, every time that he sees something good in her, she's like, Laurel, no, someone's playing to that man that she's not his daughter. Because
Right.
that is also
It's
like,
just
how is he can't comprehend that he's not his daughter? Like, she just looked like her. And
right. Jumping into the thoughts in the chat, we see Carrie says, I agree. Siren needs to stay true to what she is. Hashtag no redemption. Stormy says Black Siren can't be redeemed. Kate says, I want Black Siren to be a villain only. Barbara says, like evil Tommy and evil Oliver, Black Siren needs to stay evil. And Carrie says, I need a recovered and ready to kill a chick, Thea, back. Probably to kill Black Siren. That
yeah,
would be lovely. I completely agree. I
that would be
completely agree with
awesome.
that, and also you. Sorry, I kept
It
you
is
guys
so
over
No, it
time.
is so disappointing that Thea is not on the team anymore. Like, she was a
Right.
great part of the team. Like, I know Willa apparently decided to take a sabbatical.
Right.
There's something going on behind the scenes there that we don't know, but I think, you know, even her dynamic with Oliver is so great, and she's so missed. I mean,
Yeah.
I love Speedy. She was one of my favorite superheroes, and I think she had one of the most uh, developments on the show. I think she went from
Yes.
this, you know, helpless teenager with a lot of troubles, and to this strong, you know, this independent woman that kick ass. So yeah, I really like Thea
Yeah.
on the team.
I agree. I've missed Thea so much. I loved her conversation with Oliver tonight. I loved just seeing her around. I think she's one of those characters that really brings out a level of history to this show because of how long she's known Oliver. So, yeah, I agree. Well, I'm so sorry to have kept everybody overtime. I'm so sorry to have kept you overtime. Just had a great time chatting about tonight's episode. But, Romy, if anybody has any other questions for you or wants to chat more about Arrow with you, where can they find you?
I am Alicia to Dreams on Twitter.
Yes, and her information is also linked in the description box below. I have her Twitter at in there, so you can go find her. And I'm Cami and Ray at Cami and Ray on Twitter. If you guys want to find me, you can chat with me about Arrow as well. And until next time I see you guys, have a very Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year, Happy whatever you celebrate. And I will see you guys when Arrow returns after the mid-season hiatus. Bye, guys.